Welcome to Off the Record, talking real estate with Joe and Makayla. If you're interested in the Portland, Oregon real estate market and want the unvarnished inside scoop, you've come to the right place. Thanks for giving us a listen. Okay, welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We always appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Hello, Makayla.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. We're officially in the fall season, which I can finally say I'm happy about.
I know. Your boycott of that is over.
It's over, and now I'm fully embracing fall, and I'm happy because it's the appropriate time for fall to begin.
Yeah.
So
cold in the morning.
Yes.
Rainy in the afternoon.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got a great show today. We're going to be talking about what a government shutdown looks like for the Portland metro real estate market. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot there, but we're going to kind of encapsulate it and try to give you the high points on this. Just kind of talk about this a little bit because, you know, this is probably not going to be timely in a month or so, but for right now, this is real. So what does it mean for real estate? But before we do that, we have our segment at the top that we've been doing, which is
our off the record moment.
So tell me, what is your off the record moment, Makayla?
My off the record moment is a gripe, and that gripe is with people who are resharing articles where they don't actually read the whole thing. I know it's so common and we all kind of do it to an extent, but if you don't read the whole article, don't share it.
Yeah.
Or don't have a position on it. Don't take the clickbait. It's getting ridiculous. Specifically with this government shutdown stuff, people in our industry have been sharing terrible information. And I'm like, as a broker, this is embarrassing. And you're spreading bad news.
Yeah, so, I get it.
That's my gripe.
Nice. That's a good one. I, on the other hand, and you can probably get on board with this. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Both Makayla and I were out for short little vacations this last week.
Yes.
Which involved air travel. I don't know about you, Mr. and Mrs. Listener, but it has gotten way difficult to travel.
Yeah.
Air travel especially. Yes. And between having airlines bump you around from different flights to when you land waiting on the tarmac for a half an hour or 45 minutes because they don't have the gate ready, all that sort of stuff. And it just seems like we've gone backwards. And that is super frustrating, especially when you're flying coast to coast, which my wife and I were. And it was just ridiculous. I was very frustrated with it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's my gripe. Get it together.
That's fair. Well,
Federal
now that
Aviation Administration.
Yeah, you tell them. Now that they're not going to be paying air traffic controllers, it should only get worse. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get better
For the time
anytime
being.
soon.
Yeah.
And now we've got a shutdown. So let's jump right into that.
Yes.
You know, before we dig into Portland specific and what it means for Portland, just a couple of high points. National flood insurance is one that you were going to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just wanted to say really quick, we're not going into a deep dive on what government shutdowns mean, period. We're just talking about how it relates to real estate. So hopefully that's clear. But the National Flood Insurance Program is often one of the first to feel strain during government shutdowns. And that affects the real estate market in a lot of ways. But obviously people have a harder time getting flood insurance, which you need prior to closing on a property if that property needs flood insurance.
If it's in the floodplain, you're going to need it. And if you can't get it, you can't close.
Yep.
Which is a real bummer.
Big bummer.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the bigger items we'll talk about. But
the other one that we'll talk about is mortgage rates. And typically when the government goes into this shutdown scenario, you get a lot of volatility, and volatility can go up, it can go down, especially if you're getting ready to buy a house or if you are in escrow. You know, make sure you lock that puppy down at the interest rate that you want, because if you just float it, things can move much quicker than usual when we have this type of uncertainty going on. Those are the two big ones that we'll just throw out there off the top. But let's talk about Portland specifically. And in Portland, we have a weird dynamic of, yes, we have more inventory, but the buyer demand is less. And this dynamic of a shutdown is going to flip that a little bit where, you know, we could see something to the effect of buyers just saying, hey, when all this craziness is going on, we're just not going to jump into the housing market.
Right.
And that would really, could drive prices down even more in certain areas. So that housing pressure is one that we definitely want to take a look at. We talked about flood zones and insurance dependency. You've got to be able to get that insurance. So if you're looking at a property, knowing if it's in the flood zone is critically important. And if it is, and you're going to make an offer, just know that it's probably going to be a little while before you can get that done, especially if the shutdown lasts for a significant amount of time. The other one is federal employees. We don't have a huge base of federal employees in Portland, but we do have some.
Yeah.
And it really affects these folks. And I feel horrible for them.
It's awful.
Yeah. Just sorry, your job's on hold and we're not going to pay you.
Can you imagine if you were in escrow?
Oh my gosh.
It's such a bummer.
Yeah. So those are the general items for Portland, but let's talk about the short-term impacts. And, transaction delays are one that is at the top of the list. If you're in escrow, if you're buying a home right now, just be prepared that there may be stuff jump out of the woodwork that you're not prepared for.
Right.
And you got to pivot, you got to deal with it. And both parties have to be willing to be flexible in this, right?
Yeah.
And that means extending closing periods. That means extending deadlines on certain contingencies, all those type of things. The other one is the federal loan processing is going to be slower. FHA, VA, USDA programs are going to be slower. And USDA in particular, probably not going to get approved.
Yeah. We're seeing that FHA, they should be able to keep up. And VA, but specifically USDA, that is going to be very much on hold.
Yeah.
So we don't work with a ton of USDA loans in general, but still, it's good to know.
Yeah. The other one, like we mentioned, buyer hesitation. This type of uncertainty does not lend to confidence in people buying a home.
And we're already lacking consumer confidence.
Right. Everyone thinks, oh, the rates have gone down. It's going to be great. Well, employment and the job market is one thing. If people aren't securing their jobs, they're just not going to buy a home no matter what the rate's at. The other thing is complete uncertainty about what the government is doing and what that means to everyone is also an uncertainty that just is going to put the brakes on a lot of people's plans. So be ready for that if you're a seller. There may be a bump if certain things happen where there's less buyers. The inventory is not going to change. So those homes are still going to be on the market. People aren't going to pull their homes off the market just because there's a government shutdown. But buyers may choose to not get in the marketplace, which tweaks the supply and demand, which tweaks the leverage a little bit. So buyers may get a little bit more bold and say, hey,
this is my offer, take it or leave it.
This is my offer, take it or leave it. And here's the terms and conditions. And some of that may be difficult to take for sellers sometimes, don't you think?
Right. Absolutely.
Data and appraisal delays. I don't know that there's going to be a ton of that outside of government controlled stuff, but you may see appraisals taking a little bit longer. There's uncertainty with the whole transaction process. So be ready for that. It's not a huge thing, but those could be some of the things that happen. Some of the more medium to longer term risk, if the shutdown drags on, deal attrition, canceled sales, people may just say, this is going on too long. We don't like the environment that's out there right now. We're going to hold off on this. We're terminating our transaction. Now, granted, that's probably within a certain contingency period, so they don't lose their earnest money, but that may happen. And we've seen more sales fail this season than ever before. Not ever before, but in the last 10 years.
In my career.
Yeah. So it's been a long time.
The other thing is that if lenders get worried, and the shutdown lasts a long time, they might respond to this with increased uncertainty, and they might make it harder to get approved. So they might tighten their standards for underwriting. This means that buyers might have to show more reserves in their bank accounts, and they might only accept more conservative debt to income ratios.
Yeah, and that would have to be...
That'd be a long time.
If the shutdown was going for quite a while, that would be something. But if that's the scenario, the other thing that you might see is some foreclosure and distressed sales hit the market. We haven't seen a big bump in that for the most part, especially in Portland Metro. But that could be out there if this thing lasts too long.
People who are on the verge. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about our takeaways. For buyers, if your transaction involves flood zones, a USDA loan especially, but also FHA, VA, expect delays, expect things to take longer to get through, build in that extra buffer time because that's going to be part of the process.
The longer closing isn't the end of the world. We see them all the time.
Yeah.
Gives you more time to work through your contingencies. But yeah, I mean, we also know how eager people are to get into their home. So it's just kind of a letdown. Yeah.
And like we always say on the show, do things well in advance. It gives you more leeway, ability to pivot, but secure your pre-approvals as quickly as possible. Lock in rates sooner than later, and stay in close contact with your lender and your real estate professional because things will change faster during this time period. And you just have to be able to move quickly. And that means staying in good communication. For sellers, be aware that buyers might get even more aggressive with their offers and their terms and conditions. If your timeline is flexible, communicate that up front because that could be to your advantage, right? There are going to be some buyers whose loans are going to take a little bit longer. There's going to be some things that have to get moved through the pipeline for a lender a little bit longer. And, coming out and saying, hey, we're flexible, we're going to work with you, could work to your advantage, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a really good point.
So let's look at the outlook. Right. So the short term, the optimistic is shutdown ends in a few days or a week.
Hopefully this is irrelevant by the time we're posting.
I know. This could be done by the time this podcast comes out. Hopefully that's the case. But I got a sneaking suspicion that's not going to be the case. So, but optimistically, if it does, that's great. Transactions will resume without a whole lot of damage. Some closings may be delayed, but for the most part, the market will bounce back pretty quickly. What we've seen in the past is if it goes over a week or two, funding gaps stretch into a month or more, we could see a noticeable dip in prices in weaker segments. Things could get pretty crazy. There could be some more foreclosures. It's just a prolonged recovery after this if it goes for more than a couple of weeks, it's going to take time for the markets and everything to get back in shape.
Right.
So just be ready for that. And in general, when in doubt, reach out to your lender, your mortgage professional or your real estate professional and ask them, what they think about this. And anyone that says that there's not going to be some impact is probably not paying attention because there are things that will take effect that could affect you. And everyone's different. Each individual buyer or each individual seller has a different scenario and different circumstances. And you just need to have that conversation to know, okay, I didn't know this could affect me. Well, yeah. If you're looking at buying a home along the river,
might not be a good time.
Might take a little bit longer than you thought.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you're a buyer, maybe you can leverage that. If you're a seller, just be prepared that might be part of the conversation.
Right. If you're going a conventional loan, no flood zone, you should be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Have at it. So that is our government shutdown update.
Short and sweet. I love it.
Short and sweet. We got to keep it short because this thing could be over in a moment.
Yes. Fingers crossed.
Like I said, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Well, we'll check back in.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted in case you don't get enough information about it online.
Yeah. So
should we wrap up with what we're loving?
Yeah, let's wrap up with what we're loving. I want you to go first because I'm still pondering what my loving piece is here.
It's going to sound cheesy. Don't hate me. I really love Sotheby's International Realty.
That does sound cheesy.
I say it because we were just in New York and we walked into the Sotheby's office in Manhattan, and it's something that we do everywhere we travel, and it's just a different experience. It's so good to know that we're this well connected throughout the country and the globe, and that's not the case for most other brokerages, even within the state of Oregon. So we drive to Cannon Beach and we pop in one of our offices there. We know everybody at the front desk. We can communicate a lot quicker. There's a certain level of professionalism and understanding that takes place, and it's just really refreshing. So
yeah, it is funny. We were on the East Coast at the same time. It was so funny.
I know.
Stephanie and I were probably 10 miles away from each other.
Yes. From you and Stephanie, or 10 miles away from Jacob and I.
Yes. And unfortunately, we weren't able to connect, but it really does make you realize the power of the network and everything that's out there, because we were in Philadelphia and went out to see the Oregon-Penn State game, and the number of Sotheby signs was incredible. But that's not my piece that I'm loving.
Okay, what are you loving? Let's hear it.
I changed it. I told you something earlier. I'm changing it completely, because you know what I love?
What?
I love eating on vacation.
Oh, okay.
And there is nothing better in Philadelphia. And I didn't know this. I'd never been before, but holy smokes, the Italian food in Philadelphia is off the charts. If you ever go to Philly, Dante and Luigi's
I just
in
instantly
Philadelphia.
got hungry.
Oh my gosh. I had an ossobuco that was the largest, the most tender, the most flavorful, the most incredible thing I've eaten at an Italian restaurant in forever.
Yum.
And the leftovers the next day were even better.
Ooh.
Yes, with a risotto. I can hear my stomach right now, folks. That's
do
how much I
people
love
go
this.
on vacation to do anything but eat?
Do they? I don't know.
I'd love to meet those people.
And the Philly cheesesteaks, which they call hoagies. Angelo's in Philadelphia has the best cheesesteaks, hoagies.
Yum.
Unbelievable. So that's what I'm loving right now. What I'm not loving is probably the 5 or 6 pounds that I gained in 6 days. It was unbelievably rich and wonderful. But that's the way it goes, Makayla.
Yes, it does. You're already back on the Peloton. It's fine. You'll be fine by this weekend.
Back on it.
Okay.
All right, folks. Well, that's the show for today. Thanks so much for joining us. And we look forward to chatting with you again.
Yes.
Bye, Makayla.
Bye. Thanks for joining us today. If you're interested in finding out more about Joe, myself, or the Live Portland team, you can go to liveportland.com. Thanks for giving us a listen, and see you next time on the Off the Record podcast.